Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to another edition of NBC's 10 Count. I'm Steve Fall, but on today's edition, I am talking to Simon Miller. How are you doing today?
Dude, I'm great. This is the coolest interview I've ever done. Because as we were talking about before we got going, we had a huge wrestling event earlier. Then I got to do some wrestling, and now I'm halfway home, and we get to chat about wrestling. So I'm feeling pretty good. How about yourself, man?
I am doing super talking to you, that positive energy coming through. But be careful because I heard Brock Lesnar might be in your neck of the woods with a tractor, and he might just lift you up in your car and flip you over. Is that possible?
Honestly, I've been doing this with my head all day, just shaking it. I cannot believe like WWE is at its best when they get the spectacle, with all their production budget and their money. Honestly, I watched that and I was 12 years old again. I was like, no, he's not. No, he's not. And then it was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful.
It was nice. And this is like the first SummerSlam, I guess, or even first pay-per-view underneath this new Triple H regime with Stephanie and Nick Khan. So everyone was going into this with these high hopes. And I think everyone left with high hopes. Do you agree?
I totally agree. And I think this was where I was kind of putting all my stock. This is when we'll hopefully see some of this new regime because I totally get it. The SmackDown and the Raw that we had over the last few days. That I assume it has to tie into some previous storylines. Otherwise, it would be nonsense, right? Whereas when you have an event that's as big as SummerSlam, you can start to plant those seeds and you can start to say, okay, we're going to use this as almost a getting off platform to start telling new narratives. And honestly, from the first match all the way through to the main event, we just kept doing it and we just kept doing it. And the fact it was only 3.5 hours, I'm a big fan of shorter pay-per-views. I just am. You want to get in and you want to have some meat on the bone, but you don't want it to go too long. I honestly think they smashed it out the park, which is even more interesting because if now more people tune into Raw and they do another big angle, maybe it could serve as some kind of, trigger for something cool. I don't know.
That's true, because Eric Bischoff recently said that it's going to take about 60 to 90 days, he thinks, to see like this new facelift, I guess, of WWE
Yeah.
creative. Because you brought up a good point. Obviously, the Raw and SmackDowns leading us into SummerSlam were predetermined. Those matches and storylines, you can't just like say, I don't want to do that. Like, well, we're 6 days out. You can't just say, I don't want to do that. Way too close to it. But Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, last man standing. A tractor lifts the ring up. Roman Reigns was put in the tractor. He was thrown off the tractor. Brock jumped off the tractor. Like, this is a video game that needs to be made. I need a Brock Lesnar tractor video game where he just destroys the WWE headquarters level to level to level until he gets to the top, like Donkey Kong, I guess, with Mario, but with Roman Reigns up there throwing barrels of Paul Heyman's and the Usos at him. I think that might sell.
I would buy that. I'm always up for more video games to do with wrestling. Just rip off Donkey Kong. It's funny you say that too, because when I saw them do the ring thing, that's what it looked like to me. Everyone, the WWE 2K games, everybody loves them. Well, apart from, the one a couple of years ago. But, one of the charming things about them is when you get those glitches. And at the end of that match, that's what it looked like. It looked like the ring had glitched. Like, I've never seen anything like it in my entire life, especially, of course, because they did that. I think a lot of us have forgotten, they put Roman Reigns in the end of the tractor and they threw him off. Like, I didn't know what to expect from that match. Hand on my heart, I'm open to say, I thought before going in, it was one too many times. But kudos to everybody involved to come up what is arguably the best one they've done, which is quite hard in a program that's been going on this long. And to, I assume, culminate in the way that they did. I don't like the word perfect because I think you always want to strive to do better. But I can't find any flaw with it. I thought it was exactly the right thing to do. And it was so good, I kind of want to watch it again, because it was just fun.
Yeah.
And it was obvious, I think it must have been Brock Lesnar's longest match for what, like 10 years? Or maybe since WrestleMania 30, I don't know. But there was just so many nuts and bolts to it. But yeah, when SummerSlam was done, I was like, you know what? I cannot wait for Raw. And that's the idea. That's all you need to do.
Now, do you really believe this is the last time Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns are going to wrestle ever again?
I hope so. I hope so, because I think it kind of ties into that new regime, right? Let's use this as the stepping off platform. Oh. It's a feud. It had its ups, it had its downs. Of course, I would say that, but it's true. Now let's, because I think the biggest problem with Brock Lesnar is, we had that tease on SmackDown. I want to see the Drew McIntyre match. I want to see Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar again.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Seth Rollins. I'd love to see Theory versus Brock Lesnar. And I think the longer we tie him to Roman Reigns, I mean, he's 45 years old, I'm sure he can keep going for another 5-10 years, should he so wish. But the clock is ticking. Let's get through these feuds now. Let's take advantage of that. And they're never going to be able to top that. I genuinely think it was one of the best last man standing matches I've ever seen in WWE. So I do not see the point in going back to the well one more time when you can use that as the fare thee well. And everybody will now, I bet, remember it fondly, because that's usually what happens. If you leave fans with a happy memory, the whole thing just feels like it was excellent.
Right. The thing's like, oh, I didn't like the 3 hours, but I don't remember, because all I remember is the tractor lifting the ring up in the sky and Roman Reigns rolling out of it. So
exactly.
I thought it was great, but at the same time, for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, they tease Theory cashing in. He runs down, immediately gets F5'd on top of his briefcase, so that's out the window. I love Money in the Bank, but at the same time, I don't want to have to go into every match thinking, okay, well, this will be a good match, but how do they get out of it without getting cashed in on? Like, that, to me, is too much thinking. I don't want that.
Yeah, I think you had to do it here because they talked about it so much.
Yeah.
And after you've thrown somebody with a tractor, it's like, why wouldn't you come out? Like you absolutely would. But yeah, I think it's massively intriguing now to see what we do with that. Because I'm with you. I think Theory should probably win the championship when he cashes in, because I don't think it does anything for his character or his future if he doesn't. Right. The amount that apart from John Cena, everybody else that has failed, Damien Sandow failed and Corbin failed. Although Corbin's been fine, but Corbin he's like an everyman. You can just give him anything and he figures out a way to make it work. But yeah. I think if we are genuinely going to try and turn Theory into this great new hope, I think he needs to win. And you're right. How do you do that? I don't know if you can do that right now. It's going to be very intriguing, but you're right. I don't want it to get too stale. But hopefully look, from what I've seen last night, I think surprise and continuity are going to be things they try and introduce to the product. And if they do that, I'm hopeful with Money in the Bank as well. But it is going to be interesting because, of course, it was a Vince McMahon guy in a Triple H world. Who knows? I don't know. It's
very interesting. Because Drew McIntyre is now the #1 contender to Roman Reigns' championship at Clash of the Castle. We're going to be like in Drew's backyard. And if he conquers the tribal chief and then Theory just cashes in on him, does that make Theory a man of the people? No, it pisses off everybody. And it's not going to be like one of those like, oh, what a great heel. They're going to be like, how could they do that to Drew McIntyre? And I will have to wait and see. That'll be in a month. We'll have to see. I'm assuming you'll be attending or going or somehow getting there.
That weekend is mad. There is so much wrestling that week. I'm very excited about it. But yeah, from Friday all the way through to Sunday evening, it is just going to be professional wrestling crazy, but good. It's the first pay-per-view in 30 years or whatever it is over here. So I'm definitely going to enjoy it. Yeah.
If that kid from SummerSlam 92 is not there as a grown adult, it's like, British Bulldog's going to win, but he wants to or not. If he's not there as the special guest referee for Drew versus Roman, I will riot. Just saying.
Me too. I will join you. You take that side of the pond. I'll take this side, and we'll make it happen.
We'll do it together. I love it so much. Though we did see some big returns. Bayley, Dakota Kai, who was released and now is back, and Io Sky is her name now. I heard that a few times. So. We'll have to see what happens there. But before we get to them, we had a match. Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch tearing it up. At the end of it, it looks like Becky has now turned babyface, and now she's on the side of good against the side of evil, the Bayley, the Io Skies, and the Dakota Kais. This has magic written all over it.
I mean, the Raw Women's division right now, I was thinking about it when we were done. I mean, you could main event. That could become the focus of the show for months, because every single person we've just talked about is capable of a top-tier match, which we know, because that Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch match was excellent. Like, it was so good. They have such good chemistry. I think, ending the current big-time Bex character was the right thing to do, especially if you're about to introduce that trio. Right. Because, you need to do something different. And I would actually have the extra third person on the good guy side be Oscar, because I just think that, oh my gosh, the amount of singles matches you can have out of that. But yeah, and I think it was so important for something like this to happen, because, there's still been some murmurings, oh no, it's not going to be a real Triple H endeavor. The evidence is right there. This would not have happened 6 weeks ago. There is absolutely no way. And the fact that, I guess it's a little bit different with Io Sky, whatever we're calling her, because that's an NXT call-up. whereas Dakota Kai was gone.
Yeah.
She was released. What a turnaround for her. And it wouldn't surprise me if a Johnny Gargano comes back, maybe a Karrion Kross, Killer Kross, whatever we're going to call him. So, I mean, I think the coolest thing about it is it keeps you on your toes. And now we don't know what's going to happen on Raw. We don't know what's going to happen on SmackDown. Unless somebody has signed a deal elsewhere, it seems like, it's all guns are blazing, which I'm genuinely very, very intrigued to see where this is going to go.
I was waiting for another person to return, honestly. I was like, oh, we got 3 on one side, 2 on the other. I was like, what babyface can return? I was like, Bray Wyatt in a wig? I'll accept it.
I'll do it, yeah.
I don't care. I'll take that, but I thought it's going to be a huge momentum boost for Raw's women's division, having all these people together, fighting amongst themselves. And like you said, brought up, like, this could last up until WrestleMania. These combos of matches they have just between these 5, including maybe Asuka or somebody else, Alexa Bliss. I don't know who the third person's going to be, but we're heading into Clash of the Castle, so I'm assuming we're going to get a women's championship match and then maybe like a 2-on-2. Something crazy is going to happen, and I can't wait. Obviously, you'll be busy Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Clash of the Castle is going to be a busy time for you. Though there were some more surprises, which really wasn't a surprise. Edge has come back, and he's a hybrid of Rated R Superstar with Brood mixed in with Judgment Day Edge. I was hoping, maybe you'll agree with me. I was hoping Edge would show up and be like, listen, you guys were right. Like, I was bossing you around, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. I apologize. You beat me up. And you know what? I wanted you to beat me up. So can I just be the leader again? And they'd be like, all right, come on, Edge, come back in. That's what I was hoping. We didn't get that. We got Edge coming out, obviously creating a rivalry here. So what do you think the next step for Edge is? He just supposed to replace the storylines for Cody Rhodes?
I mean, maybe. I think the interesting thing is that Judgment Day spot, I felt like it could develop into something, but it wasn't quite clicking. And I assume that he knew that and WWE knew that, hence why we've kind of had this revamp. But I massively respect that he does want to try and find this new character, because he could just be Edge, right? And that would be fine. Everybody would be cool with it. But like, wow, you were never meant to be come back, and you did. And yeah, this one feels like a hybrid of the things that maybe he's done in the past, but necessarily hasn't brought into the present day. So I will be massively intrigued. I liked all the vignettes, though. I liked the comeback. I thought it was cool to do it at SummerSlam. Feels like they were going to do that at Madison Square Garden, but they delayed it. Makes sense to do it on the big show. And, if you do the Mysterios and Edge taking on the Judgment, the only thing I'm worried's a bit strong, intrigued. There's my word of the day. But the Judgment Day have lost a lot. They're going to have to start winning at some point, because I really like this idea. At the moment, Rhea Ripley is their muscle. Right? Yeah. She comes in, takes care of business. And I know that WWE doesn't do this kind of stuff, and I understand both sides of the coin. But she's gone after Dominic Mysterio so much, I kind of want to see it. I kind of want to see Rhea Ripley kick the absolute hell out of Dominic Mysterio. I just think it'd be different, and I think she's so intimidating in a good way that you could get away with it. So having Edge into that mix, yeah, I mean, there's definitely something here. But you'd have to presume there's a shelf life to it, because, I mean, Edge can feud with Finn Balor, great. Edge can feud with Damian Priest, awesome. That probably takes you through to the end of the year, but then what? But I think the most important part is that we realize, it's not really clicking in the way intended. So let's try something new. And Edge seems to have a very good, he has a great track record when it comes to this kind of stuff. So, we shall wait and see. Maybe the Brood stuff's been done a little bit too much, but I don't want to say that, because I don't know how he's going to, I don't know how he's going to play it going forward. All I know is I thought this felt awesome. I love the fact he came in the ring, he kicked everybody around. The Mysterios won, which I didn't see coming, given what did happen on Raw. And like a lot on this show, it ended, and I kind of just threw my hands up, looked around, and thought, I had a good time. Yeah. So who cares? I had a good time, so everything is all good.
Yeah, there was one match. There was 2 matches, I think, on Twitter at least. This is Twitter, though, so they're mad about anything. That they were confused. Great. I thought Usos and Street Profits was a great match, but yet people were like, well, the ending just felt like it just was like, oh, it's over. I'm like, and maybe it felt like that, but I don't work for WWE. I don't book wrestling, so I don't have a hearsay on this. I only have as a thought, and my thought was like, okay, great match. A little surprised. Did you think the Street Profits were going to get the belts finally?
I think the thing for me was, I didn't understand Jeff Jarrett's involvement.
Nashville. They're either Nashville.
But yeah, I know, I get that, but I think the problem for me, it served as an unnecessary distraction. It wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination. And I think Jeff Jarrett is, that bump he took on SmackDown was brilliant. But I think I was like you. I was waiting for him to do something, or I was waiting for his interaction with the match to lead to, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And instead, they kind of just got mad at him for doing normal counts when people kicked out. And then it was 1D, 1, 2, 3. And I was like, I felt like I'd missed something. I really enjoyed the match because I think those guys have great chemistry. But yeah, that gimmick, I suppose, is the right word, served almost to confuse me a little bit, to the point I was like, great match. Surprised the Street Profits didn't win, but I get it. You want to keep the bloodline strong for now. And all the rumors seem to be suggesting that we're breaking up the Street Profits, which I'm not totally against. They've had a good run. I don't want to get a turn. Just if you're going to split them up, shake hands. We want to be single stars now. I mean, that was the only thing for me. The Jeff Jarrett thing was just a bit like, I don't get it. I thought it was going to tie into something, and then it didn't tie into anything. So I was like, oh, okay, cool.
I was disappointed his horse. He didn't ride down on a horse and stay on the horse the whole match. Like just going back and forth and trying to get off the horse to count the threes every time they get back on the horse. Didn't happen. Though
I'd be up for it.
The 1 point forward, it was like, he's like, I'm going to make this happen. And he got out of the ring and then just got thrown over the barricade. And then Angelo was like, what's going on? Double super kick. And it was over. I'm like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah. Yeah, it was strange. It was strange, definitely.
Yeah, but, whatever. The other one I could see people were being upset about was Liv Morgan and Ronda Rousey. Clearly want to continue the storyline into Clash of the Castle to, have more tickets to be sold. And I get that. But when you have a tap out and a pin at the same time, Undertaker and Brock Lesnar did the same thing. I think in 2015, 2016, around there. So they're going to try to do it again here. But unfortunately, Liv Morgan does not have the stability that a Brock Lesnar Undertaker did going into that match. She needs clean victories like Bianca Belair needed all those clean victories to get where she is now. Liv Morgan did not get that. So it leads me to believe that whoever wants this to happen is not really a Liv Morgan person. But what did you think of the ending?
I think you're spot on. Like, it's one of these weird things where I actually enjoyed the match. I enjoyed seeing angry Ronda Rousey, but then the other side of me was like, it didn't help Liv Morgan, right? And look, you can fix these things in a day, right? You do something amazing on Raw, everybody forgets about it. But within the moment, I was like, okay, so she beats Ronda Rousey. Fluke, not necessarily, but Money in the Bank is always a bit of a fluke, right? Because you take advantage of a situation. And then here, it was made very clear, Ronda Rousey, animal. Liv Morgan, lucky. It's just like, I think right now you want to establish Liv, but let's get Liv Morgan up to that top tier. Yeah. She's got the following. She gets better in the ring, constantly. She's really, really, really good. And I just think sometimes you can overthink it, because I understand why you don't want Ronda Rousey to lose. She's Ronda Rousey and you want to protect her. Look what we did with Brock. You can't argue that it didn't work. But, would I have thought that Ronda Rousey was any less of a star or any less dominant if Liv Morgan had been their equal and then just gets a victory? No. And I'm actually hoping that's something that this new regime does do, is that like anybody can be beaten at any time, because that's the coolest thing ever. And I actually would have looked at it and gone, if Liv Morgan gets a decided victory here, or decisive victory, I think that actually does more for her than Ronda. Because what we could have done is Liv Morgan wins, then Ronda snaps, beats her up, and all of a sudden you're like, oh man, badass Ronda is back. And you probably even forget that she lost, whereas Liv Morgan can come out and go, see, I told you. Whereas here, she actually lost the match because she tapped out first, but the referee didn't. I just don't think it. A lot of people kind of painted it as her being a paper champion, and I don't think this helped get away from that idea. So I really hope we do have a plan, because much like what we did with the Raw Women's division, let's elevate everybody. Yep. Let's make Liv Morgan feel like a Ronda Rousey. I understand, Ronda Rousey's a mega celebrity, so you can't do that, but let's have that vision and go for it. So yeah, it was very weird, because I really actually enjoyed the story they told. I just think they told it with the wrong people, because right now I felt like we needed to establish Liv more than we did, which was a shame.
Right, and I'm just hoping that I love Liv Morgan. Huge. I've always been a huge supporter of Liv Morgan. Oh my God! Brock Lesnar is attacking Summit Miller right now in his car. Oh, you're okay.
The phone just fell down.
I just want to make sure.
That's great, isn't it? That's
Brock Lesnar did not get you.
Brock's gone.
Okay, good. You're safe. You're safe. That actually fits the show perfectly. But Liv Morgan, huge supporter of her. I think everyone has been. So I'm really hoping Clash of the Castle, Liv picks up the win. Because they even brought it up on commentary. And I was like baffled by this. Only people to ever beat Ronda Rousey are Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and Liv Morgan with the briefcase.
Yeah, and also every one of them, Becky Lynch had that weird pin, right, where everyone was like, "Oh, what's going on?"
Yep.
Charlotte Flair was obviously proper shenanigans with referees and distractions, and now you have this one. I think sometimes just go, let's beat her. Let's just do it. I mean, why not? It doesn't matter. Let's just beat her. And the shock of it, I think, is more important than whatever we're doing with characterization. Because right now we'd be going, I can't believe Liv Morgan beat Ronda Rousey, and I think it helps Liv Morgan, and I don't think it diminishes Ronda at all. And I really, I hate comparing them, but AEW does, every now and then there'll be this big surprise, like, oh my gosh, like Brian Danielson losing to Daniel Garcia. I was like, well, I didn't see that coming. And I need more of that in all of my wrestling. I never want to be able to sit down and go, well, I know who's going to win. I always want to have that 1-2% when I'm like, well, I'm not entirely sure, because those matches are the best. They are always the best.
Those are true. But the ones that are the worst, though, it's where it's like one half of a tag team is taking on an established wrestler. You're like,
exactly.
I think I know who's winning here.
I've got an idea. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know 100%, but I'm going to put money on this. Honey, put the house down on this match. I think we're going to be a million.
Exactly. Yeah, we're going to be all right. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Logan Paul, though, again, proving all the doubters wrong. And lately, the celebrities that the WWE has been involving themselves with, like Bad Bunny, for example, even Logan Paul, have been putting on good matches. Not like I was at WrestleMania 24 when I saw Mayweather vs. Big Show. And like, was it a good match? No. But was I sports entertained? Hell yeah, I was. These matches are like, oh, wait a minute, these are sports entertainment, but these are also good matches, good spots, good storytelling. So what were your thoughts on Logan Paul versus The Miz?
It's great. I mean, I don't think, again, I don't think you could have done it any better. Because it almost felt like in the early going there, the fans were like, okay, we know what you want. We're going to boo The Miz because we boo The Miz, but we are not cheering Logan Paul. Like, you wanted to be a babyface, but we refused. But by the time he hit that frog splash through a table, like every single person was like, okay, yeah, we'll cheer Logan Paul because that was absolutely amazing. And maybe Bad Bunny opened the door for this. I don't know. Maybe even Stephen Amell, I suppose you could argue.
Yeah.
Celebrities taking it seriously. They're not coming in because it will be a laugh or, I'm getting a bunch of money, but being like, no, I want to actually make a good impression. So I guess the bar has been raised. And honestly, say what you want about Logan Paul. I get that he's a controversial figure, but that was second ever wrestling match and you wouldn't, I think I said this on my ups and downs. If I'd never watched wrestling before and I sat down and for some reason I didn't know who Logan Paul was, I would have no idea that this was only his second match. It was absolutely superb. I still think WWE is going to have massive trouble trying to make him a babyface. People just don't want to like him. However, that was the kind of performance you needed to, try and extrapolate that from it. So I don't think he should be. I think he should probably be on Raw. Then I think he should go away for a while. I think less is more. You want to do it over again because that novelty will wear off. But maybe bring him back for the Survivor Series or a Rumble. Yeah, obviously WrestleMania. And also just shout out to Miz. What an awesome professional wrestler. Totally understands his job. Never lets you down. Solid as a rock. I massively respect that guy. He smashes it every time.
It's true. He's always good. So no matter if you don't like him or dislike him, like respect the person that's playing the character because because like the past year after interviewing so many wrestlers, personally for me, my opinions have gone out the window of like, well, I don't like them. It's like no. They're not in charge of their characters. The management and people who book their matches are in charge of the characters. If you think they're bad, that's not them being bad. It's someone putting them in a bad position. And
absolutely,
everybody is trying the hardest. You think people in the 24/7 championship aren't trying their hardest to make sure what they're doing with their 30 seconds of time is the best they can present themselves on TV? But people don't think that way. They think, oh, they should be fired because I don't like their segment. It's like, no, what are you talking about?
I find that crazy. I always find when somebody wants somebody else fired, I'm like, I think we've kind of got off piste here, my friend.
There's a TV show, right? This is the TV show we're watching, all right?
Yeah, these are human beings. Let them have their jobs. It's fine.
Yeah, these are humans playing characters on TV. If you think the Undertaker is out there digging holes and putting souls in them all day long, Well, maybe he is. I don't know.
I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know. I don't want to speak
time,
for him. I don't want to speak for him. Or be an accomplice to something worse.
Exactly, right? Yeah,
So,
totally. We don't want him to get off scot-free. He may be allegedly committing crimes.
But I don't want to be the one who points it out here on NBC's 10 count, and I probably just did.
Me neither.
Corbin and Pat McAfee, though, again, Pat McAfee is another person who I feel like the crowd absolutely loves him, but you've been wrestling for a long time as well. So what do you think of Pat McAfee's entrance music? Because it sounds like someone didn't want to pay Jack White. So they said, well, let's get something that sounds like this. And DDP was like, I know the guy who used to play me Nirvana music, but it wasn't Nirvana. Like, it reminded me of that moment where we're going to get music that sounds like something, but it's not really it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably what it was, right? I think someone probably said, this cost us a fortune at WrestleMania. Let's just make our own. And I guess, hopefully, that's a good sign. Hopefully, it means that Pat McAfee's going to do more matches. Because honestly, I will take 4 or 5 Pat McAfee matches a year. Wow. Like, that guy's just... and look, everyone, I think rightfully so, said, the WrestleMania match was better than this match. But that's only because, Pat McAfee was a bit wibbly-wobbly. But the coolest thing about it is he pulled everything off. So I actually quite like that it had these moments of terror, I suppose, when you thought he was going to faceplant, because he got it done, which is all that matters. And I think it's a huge compliment to him that people are already saying, well, this match was better than that match. He's had like 4 matches total or something, maybe even 3 if you include the NXT stuff. I don't know. Yeah. But it goes above that, because we all know this. Obviously, match quality is important, but it's the character, it's the personality, it's the way they resonate with the crowd. And everyone just loves Pat McAfee. I love Pat McAfee. I want Pat McAfee to do well. And I think his the sort of chemistry he had with Corbin, I'm a big Baron Corbin fan. Like, I think, I understand there, like Constable Corbin and all that stuff was, wasn't the best, but it goes back to what we just said. He will take anything you give him and he will make it work. I love the callback to SmackDown with the low blow. Admittedly, the Code Red Panama Sunrise was a bit off the wall, but it's wrestling. I know this. I've done wrestling. Sometimes things just go bad and you don't know why. But again, because he has this connection with the fans, oh man, I mean, Pat McAfee, he's just awesome. He really, really, and you could make him WWE champion. I think I'd be okay with it. I'd be like, yes, you go get him, Pat McAfee.
I would immediately cut my sleeves off if he won the world title. Like, all my shirts.
Wear shorts.
I don't even care. I don't even care. And it gets cold coming up in the winter. I have shorts, no sleeves.
Absolutely.
Shoveling my snow, and people like driving by, like, what's wrong with Steve? I'm like, I'm a Pat McAfee fan.
And they'll get it. They'll understand. They'll get it. Yeah.
Pat McAfee. Oh, this guy, he gets it. But yeah, he was good. He was definitely good. One spot though was very strange to me is Riddle shows up after Kid Rock's in the audience doing whatever he did, but Seth Rollins comes out and just beats down Riddle. Yet we couldn't have the match, but we can have the beat down. And internally, I was thinking, okay, if Riddle can't compete, Rollins will come out and be like, I demand a match. And someone returns. Another Dakota Kai moment. Nothing. Just Rollins beating up Riddle. What did you think?
Yeah. So odd. I think that's fair to say. But I have confidence in it, because this is complete speculation on my end. What I like to think happened was that Triple H sat down and goes, what are we doing? We've got Seth Rollins, one of the biggest guys on Raw. We've got Riddle, one of the biggest guys on Raw. And they haven't had much build. I mean, what was their build? They just got into a fisticuffs here and there. So what I like to think, he said, let's delay it till Clash at the Castle. So whoever wins gets a massive boost, and whoever loses is like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they lost. Again, this is me absolutely spitballing. I don't know. So if we did use this as an angle to make Seth Rollins a bigger heel and Riddle a bigger babyface, because that is the most serious I've ever seen him be, admit, it did, you can't argue it. It looked a bit stupid. If I challenge you to a fight and you kick my ass, it's like, well, that was stupid, wasn't it? Yeah, it was.
Or like we're about to fight, and I'm like, I can't compete though, but I'm actually going to show up to the same place we're supposed to fight, just not my wrestling gear, and I want to fight you, but I'm not clear to wrestle.
So it's so true. So I am happy to let this one play out. If it had been 6 weeks ago, probably not as much, but I have a feeling there is something in play here where we'll look back and we'll go, oh. So in the moment, I was a bit like, what's very, very strange. But I certainly don't like seeing the more, aggressive side of Riddle. And I just think Seth Rollins is an all-timer, to be completely honest. But if this goes in the direction that I want, I keep my fingers crossed. But I mean, I did like it because it broke up SummerSlam. But when
That's
it was
true.
done, I was like, oh, okay, that was different. That was a bit strange.
I think again, like everybody was fantasy booking since then it was announced Riddle and Rollins wasn't going to happen. I think everybody was
Oh
like,
yeah,
"It's gonna be this person. It's gonna be this person. It's gonna." I was like, "I'll fight him." Like I just God, Seth Rollins is Mr. SummerSlam. He needs to be on the card. At least he was there. And I maybe perhaps maybe you have more perspective on this, but it seems that fans we hold pay-per-views in a high regard, but
yeah,
yet
yeah, yeah.
but wrestling is an event to promote the next event, and then that event is promote the next event. But we all think it
Yep.
should be the we're all like, no, this is the be all end all. Next, who cares what's next? Well, guess what? As a business, they need to continue going down the line to get you to the next spot, Clash of the Castle. So I agree with you on the Rollins Riddle. Let's save it, build up more so we can sell more tickets, put more butts in the seats, which is what they're supposed to be doing.
Absolutely. And I think there was enough else on this show to balance it out. Like if it had been a lame duck show, I think you'd be like, oh man, well, that was just an extra thing. But because I pretty much enjoyed everything else, I was like, okay, cool. I will go on this ride with you. You re-earn my trust.
Yes.
Let's go on this ride. Yeah.
And Bobby Lashley also retained his U.S. Championship against Theory. Theory also failed in cashing in later in the evening. So I really don't know where this leaves Theory. I love Bobby Lashley picking up wins because he's one of my favorites. But yet at the same time, where does this leave Theory? Just the guy waiting in the wings to cash in?
I think so. I mean, I did like the fact that Bobby Lashley went through him quite easily because, Bobby Lashley right now is one of the most over baby faces they have. And I do understand their logic with Theory. In my opinion, they think he can lose over and over again because he's got the briefcase, right? So he literally has that money in the bank so he can be like, it doesn't matter. I'm still the number one contender.
Yeah.
So I think maybe, we kind of worked it in that sense. But yeah, I don't know where we go with either of these two guys because we come out the other side. Theory is feuding with everybody on the roster, quite literally, whereas Bobby Lashley doesn't really have a challenger. Now, could we have a surprise? Maybe. Is somebody going to come back? Potentially. Dakota Kai has proved that. But yeah, the Money in the Bank thing does have a big question mark over it. And I'm really, really hoping they have a plan and they shall start teasing it tomorrow. And absolutely, we need a proper feud for Bobby Lashley. That we really, really do. That guy has finally come into his own. He really, really has. And it's so awesome that everybody, the powers that be, so to speak, have seen that. And I think this is the time to what I would like to do is somehow take one of the titles off Roman, leave the Universal Championship on and get the WWE title back on Raw. And let's have Bobby Lashley go after it, if not be the champion. Like, genuinely, it's one of those strike while the iron is hot moments for me. Everything just seems to be clicking. And while it's great to be US champion, again, could change, new regime, so on and so forth. But at the moment, it's the world titles that everyone still cares about. So I would just go, right, how do we get it on Bobby? I'll take that. Bobby Lashley versus Roman Reigns. That would rock. That'd be great.
I love it. I think, again, I think splitting up the world titles is, I don't know how you do it, but somehow it needs to be done. But I don't work there. I don't write their storylines.
Yeah, me neither.
So every quarter they make more money. So I have no complaints about what they're doing because what they're doing is making them money. And that's what they're supposed to be doing. It's the wrestling business. And
Bang
forget that. But obviously you're Mr. Ups and Downs. So would you give SummerSlam and the entire show an up or down?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, a massive up, a huge up. I honestly don't think it could have been better in terms of what they were trying to achieve. I think it would have attracted old people to watch again. And I think it will have enticed them to check out Raw. And if Raw's good, they'll watch SmackDown. And I think they have some momentum right now. I'm genuinely very excited about wrestling at the moment because I think we may actually get to a point where we have a brand new WWE, which we needed anyway. Like I was talking to somebody today about it. I'm not a WWE hater by any stretch of the imagination. I actually quite like it. But it was very familiar and it was very similar. And you could kind of say, well, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. And 9 times out of 10, it did. Let's change them up. Let's surprise me. Let's have some new production stuff. Let's do some crazy things I don't care if they try something new and it fails miserably. I just like the fact we tried something new. Okay, that didn't work. Let's move on to something else. So, yeah, I thought SummerSlam, I don't see what else they could have done. I really don't. For the card they had and the card they had to put on because, the storylines were already in place, I genuinely thought it was excellent, to be honest. Yeah, I thought it was great.
Nice. That's awesome to hear. I agree. Thumbs up. I thought it was a great show. But you have so many things going on in your world, from acting to wrestling. So what kind of outside projects do you have going on? Because you're a man of many trades.
Yeah, I'm literally driving back from Liverpool right now. Just competed for TNT Wrestling. where I didn't really win or lose because it was a 4-way and I wasn't pinned, but I didn't do the pinning. So technically, it doesn't count as anyway. So that was awesome. You know, I always love you know, wrestling on the British independent scene is just, you know, is just great. It's still refining its feet after all the craziness the last few years, but you can see that wave is coming back. So yeah, I mean that's always great. And then also once again, that was very much a pandemic related endeavor. I thought, oh man, I've always wanted to act, and now I'm very lucky to sort of be having the odd role here and there, which is actually kind of I mean, we all know this: The Rock, Roman Reigns, John Cena, etc. It is awesome being able to take those skills and realize that they're interchangeable. So the coolest thing about doing all the acting is now when you do a promo, you're like, oh, it's just a monologue. So all of a sudden you're kind of using these skills you never would have done before. So yeah, I'm really enjoying the back and forth between it, and I can totally see. You know, I think Chris Jericho said it in his book how when you get into acting and you have not Chris Jericho, but you know, I have some experience in wrestling. You see how you can take the skills and put it into another one. And yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it. It's really, really fascinating. Plus, it's keeping me busy, and I like to be a busy man.
I did see you post recently that you've been practicing your American accent as well. So
yeah, I'm currently being coached in an American accent, and it's going to be a long project. It's hard, man. It's really difficult, but I love it. Again, I'm absolutely loving it. I'm learning all my vowels at the moment, and as I've told everyone, one day before the end of the year, I'm going to drop it on an ups and downs from nowhere. I'm going to do the whole thing in American, and I'm going to canvass the comments to see how I'm getting on. So it's a big thing now. I'm just going to do it, and if it sucks, it sucks. Who cares, man? You only live once. And I bet, honestly, sometimes even when you get the crazy feedback, you can still take, you know, positives from that. So yeah, that is my goal. But by 2023, I guarantee you, I will come back on the show and I did the whole thing in American. And much like Christian Bale, when he managed to trick the world that he was American for like 10 years, even though he's from Wales, I'm going to do the same thing. This is my new goal in life.
To be Christian Bale. So you want to be Batman?
I do. I really, really do. Yeah.
Who doesn't want to be Batman? That's so funny.
Wants to be Batman.
It's so funny because for me, it would feel like it would be easy. For me, it's easy to put an accent on because I don't know why as American, I don't know why it's just easy to put any accent on. But with having an accent and dropping it, I have no idea how you're doing it. But I have like a Boston accent, and sometimes it slips out, and people are like, "What did you say?" You know, park the car in the Harvard Yard. And they're like, what? Park your car in the Harvard Yard. Like, I love it.
I love it. I like it. I like the Boston accent. I'll learn that one too. I'll learn all of them.
Learn them all. I know it's funny as an American, you think, we speak, you're speaking an American accent, but there's so many American accents.
Oh, so many. And for some reason, it's very easy to sort of drop into like a southern drawl.
So easy.
It just happens. And my coach is like, no. We're trying to learn like a general. Stop going south. It just happens. I don't even know why.
Oh my God, that's amazing. So you have so much going on though. I cannot wait for the world to see one day you drop down your ups and downs with an American accent and the world is like, wait a minute. Has he been American this whole time?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I want. I want people to think I've been doing a UK accent since day one. This is my new dream. It's not a very good dream, but I like it.
Hey, it's your dream, Simon. It's your dream. Who cares about what people think about your dream as long as you're happy?
Exactly.
Well,
damn
thank
right.
you.
Screw them all.
Screw them all. Yeah, 2 words for you. Screw them. Again, thank you so much, Simon Miller, for coming on, talking about SummerSlam and sharing the fact that one day the world is going to explode with the idea of you having an American accent on ups and downs on WhatCulture Wrestling. I cannot wait. So again, thank you so much for being here talking about SummerSlam on NBC's 10 Count. You pulled over for me.
Oh, honestly, Steve, I genuinely appreciate you asking. I love doing it after WrestleMania. I love doing it now. Hopefully we can do it again soon. And honestly, I really do appreciate you even reaching out to begin with. So thank you very much.
Well, last time we did, for a little perspective, last time we did WrestleMania, you were in a hotel and you realized your camera on your laptop was on the bottom of so you're like, hey, Steve, what's up? I just want to talk. And then SummerSlam, here we are now. You're like, I'll just pull over and just do to my car. And I'm like, that's fine. No problem. So maybe someday you'll be in a seat.
Yeah, the next one, the third one we'll do from a studio, right? I promise you, we'll do it properly. We're building up to it. That's our WrestleMania, and we're building.
I love it. Folks, thank you so much for watching another episode of NBC's 10 Count. I've been Steve Ball. He's been Simon Miller. Have a great day. We'll see you next time. Bye.